Hello, hello. This is so exciting. I'm so excited to be back and stream again. It's been a while, and this is my second stream with the babes, and so I'm like super excited to have you here, Brit. Before we get started, hi everyone. This is Kamski, and I have a special edition for my streams, and we decided to do it all pink to celebrate the babes and to talk about like cool stuff that the babes are doing, whether it's building, life experiences, creating anything to really give the spotlight to all our women in our community. So super excited to have you here, Britt. And you are doing something really, really cool. You're connecting straight from network school, right?
Yeah, from Forest City, Malaysia.
Oh my God, this is so cool. I went to Kuala Lumpur, and I know there was like a morning event at network school, but I don't know, we had other things planned. I was really bummed not to be able to attend. But it's something that I've been following for quite some time. Definitely all the conferences about network skate. And now that, network school is up and running in Malaysia, is something that, even though I'm not nomadic, is on my to-do list and on my bucket list. And I hope one day I'll be able to just even spend like a week or a month and see what it is. And I know that it's something that a lot of people have a lot of questions about and are curious about what life is like at network school. So I thought it would be really, really interesting to, invite you and talk about your experience because it's a really, really unique society. And yeah, I'm super excited to talk about it because I have so many questions.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I have absolutely loved being at Network School. And I'm happy to answer any questions and tell you a little bit about how the experience has been.
Okay, sick. First question before we get into the details and so on, because there's network school is not just a startup society. It's a broader vision. It's way bigger than that. And there's a whole universe that can be discovered, and I think is really, we can dive into that. And I do want to talk about the values that are powering this ecosystem and this community, which is global. But first of all, I read somewhere that your menu is designed by Brian Johnson. Is that true?
It is. And we have blueprint products available all over the campus as well. So it's really amazing. We come here and there's 3 meals a day available. So we get to eat really healthy. Admittedly, breakfast is not a Brian Johnson diet, so you have to be a little more intentional about eating healthy, but it's like a wonderful, proper, like international buffet breakfast. And then our lunches and our dinners are fully Brian Johnson. They're extremely healthy. And it's one of the amazing parts about being here. Like, it's pretty hard not to improve your lifestyle just being present at Network School.
That sounds like such a dream, to be honest. I've spent a lot of time in Bali and, in places where it's like, you're working and there's a whole system around you that is built for you to be healthy. Of course, you can go down the other route, but it's so nice to be surrounded by like just healthy options, good foods, good people, and so on. So how is it exactly like, obviously for those that don't know, Network School is a program that's running all around. Can you give us a bit of more information on like how it's run? How does one join and so on? Like what should I know about Network School if I'm totally new to this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard you mention earlier, you're not a digital nomad and you still want to come.
I
And
used to be,
I think
yes, but
sometimes people think that you have to come for a whole year. But the way that it works is once you apply and you're accepted, you pick a month for your cohort. And all cohorts begin on the first of the month. And then they wrap up at the end of the month. So the majority of people that I met that came into my cohort came with the intention of being here for 1 month. That was January 1st. So that would obviously mean that I was intending to leave on January 31st. And like many others in my cohort, I decided to stay on. It's been a really cool experience. So you apply online. You can go to the website and you fill out the application form. And it takes a couple days for your application to be reviewed. But once it's been reviewed, you can go ahead and register, and you choose whether you'd like a shared space or a private space. All accommodation is in the hotel, especially when you're coming here new. We can talk about long-termers later. But all accommodations in the hotel. And there are shared rooms and private rooms. And when you arrive, you are welcomed in. We actually picked up from Singapore Airport together. So if you arrive like on day one, you get to actually come in on like a coach bus with your cohort, which is a really fun experience. We all walk into the building together and get to register together as well.
Because it's on the border, it's in Malaysia, but you are on the border, close to Singapore, right? So that would be the closest airport. People don't fly to KL, right?
I think some people do fly to KL. You can actually also fly to Johor, which is even closer. But Singapore, being Singapore, has a ton of accessibility from just about every continent. So a lot of people do come in from Singapore.
And for those that don't know, so it's life in a hotel. So the idea is obviously there's, and this is part of the broader mission, and ideology behind Networkscape, is that there's a lot of places within the world that are not utilized or are available where people can travel to. And also, keep in mind, obviously, I'm European. I have passport privilege. There's a lot of people that are not able to travel to Europe, to the US, especially now they're making it really tough with the current administration. So, and this means that a lot of talent, a lot of technologists and a lot of builders and founders are looking for certain environments to be able to grow and, foster whether it's, being a sole entrepreneur or developer, are basically stripped from that experience, right? So this is what Networkscape is trying to do, is to find these places that aren't utilized and create their own society, their own technological society, where people have a choice, people have a say, and create their own startup society. And that's why they found a place in Malaysia. It's a small city, right? It's or is it just a hotel that wasn't that was kind of abandoned and they took it over? How is it exactly?
Yeah, so to focus on the first part for a moment, this Malaysia was chosen specifically because 99% of passports can get into Malaysia pretty easily. So it makes it very accessible for the majority of people. And the actual location, it's called Forest City. It's actually a man-made island off the coast of southern Malaysia. And it was built a couple years ago with the intention of being very populated. And because of a change in real estate laws where the primary investors were from, it actually didn't get inhabited. But that being said, there is a notion, I think, from a lot of YouTube videos that it's a ghost city and that it's completely abandoned. And so when I came, I really was expecting a fully abandoned city, and we were in this hotel populating it. It's truly not the case with Forest City, at least anymore.
I'm bringing up
which is really interesting.
I'm going to bring up some pictures here so we know what we're talking about. And I know the kind of videos that you're talking about. It's people that just love to go discover abandoned places and so on. And wait, let me see. It's called Johor, right? Yes, I think this is the one.
Yeah, so it's called
here.
Forest City. Johor is the larger state. And there's pretty populated areas.
Most
just,
expensive
10 and 15
ghost town. Yes. Here, it looks crazy. It looks so beautiful. I live in Dubai, so these kind of sceneries with green, honestly, any type of architecture that's incorporating nature, big love. It's something that really I miss a lot. And for example, Singapore is honestly one of my favorite cities, but it rains too much over there.
It's really like a cypherpunk paradise because you look like you are in some sort of AI generated city. It looks just like you see in the pictures here. There are these tall, futuristic buildings, but just covered in green. And from the balcony, you see the water and the beach. And so it's like this cypherpunk paradise. It's really cool. And like I was saying before, so my friends that had been here in the summer and recommended that I come, we saw them at DevConnect, and they're like, "You have to go check it out. It's really great." When I got here, I was like, "Wow, there's a lot actually kind of going on here," and it sounds like a lot of the businesses actually have continued to pop up. So Forest City is getting populated I don't know if rapidly is the right term, but it feels pretty rapid
By
compared to what I was told
by
like
non-network
a couple months.
schoolers as well? Is that what
Yeah,
you
the
call it
city's
yourself, by the way?
growing.
Network
Yeah,
schoolers? Is that the
network school residents,
you've read it?
members.
Yeah. We've got Flo in the chat, by the way. Hey, Flo. And Max is saying it looks kind of unreal.
Oh,
Yeah, this is like you said, like this is exactly like if I'm prompting like futuristic, future city, like this is literally what would come up. Honestly, it's
it's
so
seriously like
crazy.
every morning when I wake up and I go outside on my balcony and I'm just looking out, like I feel like I'm in an AI rendered image.
Yeah, right.
It's been 6.5 weeks and it doesn't fail to shock me every single morning.
This is so cool. I mean, I am not surprised that you decide to just stay longer and just not leave. I would find it really hard to leave a place like this, to be honest, especially if I was a nomad, because at the end of the day you can have this experience, and for $1,500, like a full inclusive, like in a nice hotel with like good food, good people, gym, it's a pretty good. If you look at other places, for example, like my reference is Bali. Of course, I've spent quite a lot of time there. You're not necessarily going to find like a good spot for that price point, to be honest. Especially if you're looking
Yeah.
for gym membership, you're looking for a good accommodation, a good like network. It's a pretty good. It's really interesting, to be honest. What
I can touch on something
what
really
made you
good there
decide?
too, actually, like good people.
Sorry, you were
The
saying?
type of people. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna ask exactly like what kind of people you're meeting. Like who joins network school? Like obviously it takes a certain kind of person to you know to want to join and have this experience. But also, I see there's like definitely an application process and so on. I can imagine that they highly curate the type of person that joins, and I would assume they also need to align from an ideology perspective in terms of like how they see life and how they see the future. Because it does take, like, if you want to build a society, you definitely need to have people that are resonating with what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot of the points that it is curated, right? There is an application process. You can't just buy a ticket out here and like walk in. But the team does a really good job of selecting really innovative and interesting people. And the first filter is, right, like, are you the kind of person that is going to go to, what is called a ghost city in Malaysia and go live with strangers, for a month? So that's a really fun first filter, because you do end up with people that are inherently adventurous. And that means that almost everyone here is full of like really wonderful stories. I came with the misconception that it was all blockchain people, because that was the world I was living in, and my understanding was that was who was coming here. So
What's your
I think
background?
really expected.
By the way, what is your
Go ahead.
background?
My background of the last 5 years, 4 years, has been exclusively in the blockchain space, particularly Ethereum ecosystem, cybersecurity. Before that, I was designing smart homes and smart buildings, residential, commercial, university type things.
Oh,
So
cool.
I've always been very technical. I started building computers when I was very young, and that's sort of just translated into this space.
That's so cool. And so you were saying that you expected, because being obviously like founded by Balaji, you would have expected people to join, be primarily, working or involved within crypto, but that's not the case, you were saying, right?
It's really not. There's like definitely a portion of people here that are involved in blockchain, but the reality is you have the blockchain types, you have people that are working with AI, you have like traditional financial types, but then you also have like currently we have an architect. Last month there was a civil engineer. We have musicians. We have artists.
Oh, wow.
There are an amazing range of people here, but I think the thing that we share in common is this interest in expanding ourselves, in growing to be even better versions of who we were when we decided to make this journey. And that's, a network school, talks about learn, earn, burn, and now we've added fun too, which I think is very useful because we do enjoy having fun. But it really does attract people that were inherently already interesting and adventurous because we're willing to come over here. But everyone's expanding themselves. Like there's a ton of content and classes here. And so everybody here is interested in upskilling in some way, whether that is the amount of technical content they know, how to take care of their body better, whether that's like internally or externally. We have access to a 24/7 gym, fitness classes 3 times a day. And that's just sort of the basic infrastructure. Because one of the really special things too is that members get to build on top of where we are, right? We're very much encouraged to innovate and do unique projects to make the space more interesting and better. So members are free to offer their own workshops. And you have workshops on everything from machine learning and vibe coding to calisthenics and singing. It's this amazing assortment of education that's available to you. And it shifts every month, right? Because there's a new cohort coming in every month, and there's a great
Different
deal of
skills of
long-termers
people.
as well. And there's other people that come in and then stay on. So the palette of the educational offer shifts. There's the NS core offers and some regular programming content that the long-termers offer, but you get this amazing curation of new content that are brought in by the people that are here for the month.
That's so cool. I'm like I'm FOMOing. I want to share experiences at least once
Should
in my life.
follow.
Yeah, I know it sounds so cool. And how, like for example, like how was your day today? Like you woke up, like what did you do? I'm so curious.
So I woke up. I went down and had breakfast in the hotel, which was very nice. And then I went back up. I gathered my things, and I actually had some work to do. So I went down to the cafe, which is where a lot of us co-work. There are some other places you can go co-work. There's actually like a whole nother co-working facility. There are other spaces within Network School. So we have like additional spaces that we call layer twos. So if you're a member of one of those, you might go work in one of those spaces. But the cafe tends to be this sort of like central hub. It's energetic. You can sort of do deep work and lock in, but also you can have conversations with people that you're collaborating with. You can have new conversations. So in addition to the meals that were provided, there's also a cafe in the lobby that has some really wonderful food in it too. So you can sit down and have a snack or have a meal, have tea.
How
Our
many?
favorite thing to get is coconuts.
Oh yeah, oh my god, fresh coconuts, the best. How many people are currently in the school? Like on average, like how many are more or less, like how big is the cohorts? Or
So
like,
it's growing rapidly. When I was here last month, I think there were about 250 of us. This month there are, I believe it's over 400.
oh my god, okay.
And you can really see how like the energy level changes with a larger cohort as well. There was a lot going on, especially earlier in the month. Ethereum Foundation was here. The Solana Outpost started. So there's been tons going on, but there's over 400 of us here.
Oh, that's so exciting. So I went to university in Switzerland, and we had about 400 people, students, like in the uni. It was a very small boarding school kind of experience. And I really enjoyed that. And I found that, like, compared to maybe other friends that went to bigger universities, our ties were stronger in a sense, like we still have this like sense of community and very like strong sense of belonging, especially when it comes to like alumni. And I just came back from a wedding from a friend, and we had a reunion. So I really personally, I really love and I enjoy, and I think these experiences where you live together, communal living, are very important and should be experienced, because you definitely, I think you get to experience yourself in a different way. And it's something that, especially if you live in the West, like in big cities, it can be quite alienating, and this sense of community is often lost. I'm half Italian, and back in, don't quote me because I don't, I'm really bad at history, but I think in the 60s, communes were quite, there were a lot of communes in Italy, and it was definitely something that people would go and decide to do and go live there in a community. And it does, as much as obviously there's always like, it's not as easy and rosy as it sounds, but it's definitely, I think it's really important for us humans to find that community, to find people with who you can resonate with who you can grow, because there's only so much you can do alone, and we also spend so much time online. I feel that it is important to have these experiences of like real community, not just online in Discord servers or chats, which are easy in a sense, but they strip you from the human experience of having to go through relationships and evolve through that and grow as a person, right? So I think it's really cool, especially for people that are maybe technical or spend a lot of time online, and or are feeling like isolated because of their jobs, or solo founders. It's really, I think it's important that these organizations like exist, and there's so many startup societies in the world, but at least this one has a beautiful and pretty incredible place. I think it's like so cool that you have this. Does Balaji come and give talks from time to time? Have you been able to join one of his? Does he do any appearances in Network School?
Yes, Balaji does give talks, and I think listening to him and hearing about his vision and why this is important to build is it's already meaningful to be here. Like without his presence, what has been built, like you can feel the energy from it, right? You can feel that, like you said, it's your internet friends, but now you're IRL and all the things that sometimes make us feel isolated. And that's where we're going to find like camaraderie and friendship on the internet with people that have similar experiences to us or think about things differently like we do. You know, we tend to be sort of innovative people here. The ability to just be able to have those conversations in person and actually like feel the energy exchange is so helpful and so important. And I think that's, for me, I actually didn't know very much about Balaji like before I came here. And so I knew about what he built and I knew about the book. Um, but I think coming here, like you can really feel a sense of how important it is and how impactful it's going to be in the future. Like you really can't deny it once you come here. And you know, when you do get to hear him speak, it's conveyed so eloquently, and it really makes you even more excited to be here. So they're like these really invigorating sessions when you get to have them.
I mean, I can imagine it's quite a political statement also to join like a startup society. You're basically, choosing not to be in your own country, and you're not living off grid, because you're not off grid, but you're making a pretty strong political statement. I feel like, don't you think?
It doesn't feel that way to me, I should
Okay.
say. You know, for me, it feels more like I've always been a traveler, right? And on top of that, especially in my career, I'm constantly traveling and I'm going to conferences. And the reason I go to conferences is because I see value of that human to human interaction, even if we're highly technical people and the majority of what we produce is in the digital space. Those conversations are so meaningful, and the innovation that can happen when two of these kinds of people get together is just so huge. So for me, I love the conference environment, but it's got a time gap to it, right? It begins and it ends. And also, I've done a lot of work in like community and business development, and that means that the conference schedule is so crazy. You know, it's kind of the opposite of being here.
It's
Like
so exhausting.
here, I
It's
am so
like,
healthy, and I've gotten better nights of sleep most nights than I have in years at home. Where when I'm at a conference, it's go, 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 and you're switching and you're switching and you're switching.
I
So for
don't
me,
understand
it
people that.
feels less like a political statement.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I get it. I guess like from a personal standpoint, like I would definitely, I think I've always been a bit of an idealist, and that's what brought me to crypto back in the days. It was this idea of finding an alternative, and just saying like I have a choice, and it's not the choice that government or society gives you, and I'm gonna go find people that want to do things differently for the better, for our own personal interests. I don't know if that's still the case. I know a lot of people are still jaded, are a bit jaded, especially given how like some parts of crypto, where the direction that it's taking. But personally, I do think that like I would be definitely attracted to this kind of living also because I would want to be surrounded by people that share these ideas. Like for example, like I left Europe. I've been in Dubai for 2.5 years, and this has been like a conscious choice to, you know, leave and find a better alternative because I think like the European startup environment wasn't going to give me, and also Mood Labs, because I mean we're an agency, so we operate within the crypto space, you know, like the whole payment idea, and you know, it would have been like a, as a long-term play, it would have been like complicated, to be honest. Not that there's no agencies in Europe, but Dubai seemed just a place where you can have a long-term plan without being afraid that tomorrow things are going to be changing. I mean, look at Holland, look at the Netherlands. Like suddenly one day or another there's income tax on unrealized gains on Bitcoin. Like it's stressful to live like this, you know. And that's why, like, the thing is, like, if you have a choice to live and find a better alternative, and it is a privilege, like not everybody can do it, but I think it's important to be also in places where you're surrounded with like-minded people that are not also living in the same society that you're trying to leave, because there's a lot of brainwash that comes with that ultimately comes in the way where with your growth, right? So you want to be in a place where the goal is to grow and not like manage you as a workforce, let's say, like, which is what happens in certain systems, right? So this is like where I stand. Why, like, personally, I would be motivated to join a society like this. Obviously, I'm like super into health and everything else. Like, you need to have, you cannot deny your body. It's, you know, it's, you have to take care of your body, your mind, your soul to be able to function. But yeah, I think this is where I stand. Like, I would, that's why, like, I've been following, you know, what's the whole idea behind Network State. I think it was like really interesting because it's another alternative, right? To the life that like you're born in. Not that Europe is like over and so on, but I'm pretty happy that I made the decision to leave. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that join that. I'm curious to hear, because obviously like we have a bit of a PR problem with crypto. Like it's not looking too good from the outside. I'm almost embarrassed to say I work in crypto. You know, we're at that part of the cycle. How do people, how are people like, you know, because you mentioned there's obviously non-crypto people. Like, what's the perception like at Network School? Like, are, you know, what's the view? Like, what's the general kind of like feel when people talk about crypto and blockchain?
Um, you know, the interesting thing is, well, to what you were saying before, I think one of the most interesting thing about here is like we all come here for different reasons, and then we stay for different reasons too. So that's it, it's really interesting how all that's curated. As to crypto specifically, like I said, blockchain and crypto people are just straight up not the majority here. And it feels more just like a very technical space. So obviously with crypto numbers being what they are, I think people are probably talking about it less just because, you know, it's not like a fun topic. You know, I was just at Consensus in Hong Kong, and somebody, I can't quote who it was, but you know, they said their takeaway from Consensus is that like crypto companies are dead, and if you're not an AI company or a privacy company or something like that, like there's just no space for it anymore. And that's a bear market, right? You know, I had the experience of
That's
building through the last bear. I think many of us that have been around for a while are used to that.
it's a good
But the
time to
dialogue
build.
here, like, is way more AI focused today. You know, like I've always been highly technical to like a normie, but still like, you know, mediocre technical compared to the world that I've found myself in for a long time. And maybe it's just my personal focus, but it where I came from like ETH Global Hackathons and like let's build everything on blockchain and all this, and now I'm coding. I mean, vibe coding, but like I'm building things and tools, and I'm not necessarily like forcing in blockchain infrastructure just because, you know, before when I was building, it was always at like blockchain and crypto focused hackathons. And now here we're just like building for the fun of building. Like there are robot dogs and chess robots. And I've had the fun
Oh
experience
my
of
god.
OpenClaw coming out while I was here. So all, not all of us, but like a lot of us are messing with agents and having a lot of fun with it.
You'll
And
have your Mac
uh,
minis
I can
delivered.
start. really early. So I've gotten to help some of my friends set up their agents now. Like I've got a whole little crew building things for me and helping me with stuff. And I think the dialogue is like, this question started more about crypto, but the reality is I think we're a group of innovators. And right now, I think the majority of innovation is happening with AI. And there's so much excitement about that's a lot of what we're building. Like I don't think we've really had like a workshop on crypto, like short of maybe blockchain basics. And that's partially, I think, because we take for granted a lot of people have blockchain basics here. But today, like I'd say the majority of people here are definitively not crypto people, highly technical, and they may have been involved in crypto things, but uh, right now we're a whole bunch of like super excited AI people figuring out what we can build. And I think that's really fun.
I feel like that's kind of what's happening with CT. Everyone's pivoting to AI. Do you feel, I mean, obviously just, your own personal, maybe short-term prediction or feel like, do you think that it is a bad business decision to stay in crypto right now and missing out on AI, or like should everybody pivot, or is there still something, in crypto right now? It's okay. You can be honest. Like you can
Speaking
also
on
change
behalf
your
of
mind in
myself
like
entirely.
you can change your mind in a
Um,
month. Huh? It's totally cool. Just,
I don't think I've changed my mind. I can even tell you like sort of like how I ended up in the crypto space finally, because I've been around it for a while. But I think the only bad business decision is like siloing yourself into one thing or the other. Like I actually ended up in the blockchain space because I was designing smart home systems, and I was in Boulder 2009. So like I've always been very adjacent to what was going on with like Bitcoin and blockchain, but what finally made me jump in like fully was understanding that digital assets and digital tokens were going to change how we built control systems. And so for me, like, I wasn't like, I'm only a smart home person and now became a crypto person. It was just, I understand technologies are shifting and changing and I'm adopting them and I'm not like switching my hats. And I think that's kind of the same thing with crypto. I think the only bad business decision you could say is like, I'm a crypto person and I will not use AI because I'm going to be a crypto person.
oh
I
my
think the
god,
best builders
that would
are
be, I don't
are
know,
merging their interests and growing.
these people like if yeah no you if AI is a great tool, like anyone that is refusing by principle, I mean, I feel sorry for them. Like, I don't know. We don't
And
need to
don't get
talk
me
to
wrong,
these
like I
people.
come from cybersecurity, so like I was very hesitant and I still use it very cautiously. I think that's very important too, right? Because you can get so excited about AI that all of a sudden like keys to the kingdom are gone. And there's definitely a lot of recent dialogue about people responsible for AI and security within AI, specifically raising alarms and concerns. So I think to not be skeptical of AI is also, probably not a bucket you want to step into.
What do you think
But
of
we're
Claudebots?
builders.
What do you think of Claudebot? My God, Claudebots. What? No, it renamed now to. Oh my God. Anyway, like there has been obviously a
It
lot
was
of
OpenClaw and
OpenClaw.
Clawbot, and now it's Claudebot, but it's like
I
CLAWDBOT.
think it's no, actually, no. It started as
Or
Claudebot, then Claude, obviously sued them. Then it turned into Mallbot, and now it's OpenClaw. That's the sequence. Yes, now we got it.
thank you.
So
Mine's name's Lyra, so my primary one's named Lyra, and I just call her Lyra.
how cute. So in terms of, obviously you work in security, you have a better understanding on what it's like to build something secure. We're seeing a lot of people just give access, try things. I just saw there's some news about like Phantom also enabling. Wait, let me bring this up so I don't say some random things, because I just was scrolling and I saw this here. So we're seeing also, yeah, here. So Phantom is introducing their Phantom MCP servers, so agents can swap, sign, and manage addresses across all Phantom supported chains. Like my first instinct is that we're opening up channels, we're giving access to wallets. And a lot of people don't necessarily, including myself, don't necessarily have a clear understanding on, like, where's the boundaries that we need to, what boundaries do we need to set so that, like, our accounts, our wallets, like all our information is secure. Because we've obviously, and this is just, from a simple, like, you're publishing your keys and someone just comes in and gets your keys and uses all your credits. Very simple things that a lot of, like, I guess, noobs might not necessarily know how to manage, but there's obviously more, like, there's worse that can happen, right, if you're not too careful. I was wondering, like, what are the top security tips that you would give to someone that's, like, experimenting with vibe coding and, more specifically with OpenClaw?
The same starts with the same security tips I would always give. Like, right, you just never want to be complacent. You never want to assume that you don't have enough to be interesting or what you're doing isn't worthy to somebody, because the majority of attacks are typically not target attacks. They're large scale attacks. So somebody is going to create a skill that opens a vulnerability, or they're going to make it appealing for your agent to go do something accidentally that compromises you. Uh, my favorite way to do that is to just constantly be checking in with my agent. Also, I make sure that I add security measures to the heartbeat files so that when it is working autonomously, that checking for just best practices in security is maintained. And then, of course, like, don't give your agent access to your personal accounts. Like, you can set up, your agent can set up a wallet for you in a half of a second. You can get an email address for your agent. You can take some certain measures so that your agent can be functional and very helpful without compromising, like, what you have going on. And if you want your agent to be able to, check your emails and things, like, you can set up forwarding to the account that you've set up for your agent. Because, like, for me, they're like, my agent's always suggesting, well, you can just forward me the emails. I'm like, no, like, I don't want to touch a lot of things. See, there's, like,
But what about,
convenience is often sometimes like what compromises us the most, but there's ways that you can do that. But the biggest thing I recommend is adding into your heartbeat, like, regular checks for security, and making sure that best practices are being used.
and can this be vibe coded? Can you add security layers to your agent just by prompting it, or do you need to have some kind of technical expertise before being able to do that? And are they secure enough?
I don't look. It's open source software and it's changing every day. So I'm going to say that you have to operate with your agent as if it is not secure enough. Full stop. I think that I spent a long enough time in security that look, I'm a New Yorker. I operate with skepticism in general, but you just always got to be skeptical. But yes, you can absolutely. I mean, the same way that your agent can spit up other agents, it's very capable. So yes, you can prompt it to help make sure that you are doing things as securely as possible. If you're taking new actions, adding new skills, reminding yourself to always check. But then again, adding into the soul, adding into the heartbeat that it is always aware of vulnerabilities and constantly checking for, just general security.
Because what I'm
And making
seeing,
sure that whatever you have it hosted on is also set up with security, which your agent can review for you as well.
right, that is really good tips. We're seeing, we're actually, Max is asking a question. So how good do you think OpenClaw really is, and how much is people hyping it up on X?
The hype is for a reason. I think it's absolutely, we haven't experienced AI like this yet. Also, I think if you look at the trajectory to just where we were with, like, ChatGPT a year ago to where we are with OpenClaw, you really have to start to appreciate how rapidly this is going to continue to shift and iterate. But yeah, it's totally not hype. Like, I have seen all sorts of things. Like, obviously the highly technical people use it, but I saw today a homeschooling mom that has 4 children, and, like, literally, like, a nursing one has her agent building curriculum and printing things on a voice chat. So, like, it's like life changing for, like, the most technical people that are, like, building robots and all that stuff, but also, like, anyone at home, like, your most traditional roles are even completely shifted by what you can do with the productivity you're given when you are working with agents like this. So it's definitely not all hype.
So it's
If you
not
are
so
newer, be careful. But yeah.
okay, so OpenClaw is not just some productivity theater.
I've experienced a massive amount of productivity. I was really like pleased with my personal vibe coding skills, and then all of a sudden I added OpenClaw to it. And for me, one of my favorite things is properly setting up a heartbeat where my agent's working in the background. Because for me, that was the limitation that I really felt was, and it's so funny because talk to yourself from 10 years ago. I feel limited by my AI because it only works when I prompt it to. But now the fact that you can give it like a mission and a goal, and that when you're not sitting there prompting it, it's still being productive. And that is absolutely groundbreaking. It's undeniable, like no matter what field you're in.
That's so cool. I didn't know you could do that. Personally, I haven't like set up OpenClaw yet. We've definitely been using Cloud Code, building things like building. I mean, the bot you see in our BavesNet chat, for example, has been set up. We're always like adding new features to it, like slowly. So it. I mean, as an agency, it's helped us stay lean. It's helped us be more productive, organized. Like there's a lot of really amazing things that honestly, like we wouldn't have been able to do a couple of years ago. An amount of output that we're able to produce is basically the same as if we had a team of like 5-10 people. Max is asking.
Did you see like
Sorry.
Anthropic publish their marketing prompts for Claude?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Total game changer. That got published like 2 days ago. You should definitely check it out.
Oh, okay. That's very, very useful. I saw there was like a whole list of things regarding marketing, but not the prompts. I think prompt libraries are going to be such a thing, honestly. Like that, there's like people that are curious and are going to take the time to learn it, and then there's obviously most people are going to be lazy, don't have time. So I think like the libraries, and just like giving this like ready-made is going to be like so important, because otherwise you just don't have time, and you want to make sure it's like a good prompt and so on. Max is asking, is the token cost doable as well, or do you have to monitor this closely?
So I was pre-OpenClaw, like because like I said, I kind of got into vibe coding here. I've been doing a lot, and I was on the $20 a month plan, and I was burning tokens just doing that. And then when I set up my OpenClaw, it wasn't burning tokens that was the issue. It was rate limit, because it was so active so much during time. I'm using my OpenClaw most of all day, every day. It's running in the background, and I'm on the $100 a month plan now, and I haven't had to go up to the 200. I was really expecting, with the volume that I was doing, that I would have to just go hit that max plan. So for about $100 a month, I have several agents that have spawned agents, and they are
Oh my God.
productive all day long. Because you were talking about prompt libraries, right? Like the best thing about OpenClaw is I can tell it to go do research when it's not working with me, and it'll come back and make our own prompt library. And I
Oh,
think that
wow.
is just such a change, because now it's not about going to do your own research. It's just about knowing what you want and being able to articulate it well. Um, and I think that's going to be like the real big differentiator with how people experience AI, is the ability to articulate your goals and the parameters to getting there well. Because it's kind of like search skills. 10 years ago, search skills were really important. You had people that could get anything they want when they're on Google, and there's some people that are like, I don't know how to find the things I want. I'm only getting, sponsored results and things like that. So I think like search skills is going to evolve into like prompting skills, and communication skills are going to be more important than ever.
Yeah, and Max saying, think then prompt, not prompt then think. Yeah.
Yes. And plan mode is wonderful. If you haven't heard about plan mode, it's a great way to not have an issue with like burnt credits too, because what it does is force your agent, because agents do tend to sort of just like go. They're like, ooh, this is what you want, like let's run. If in the beginning of your prompt you say enter plan mode, and then you talk about what you want to do, it'll stop and plan first, and then show you the plan, and then proceed, which is a way to be much more efficient with your token load.
Do you think because I mean obviously we cannot deny oh yeah, I'm accessing or use Get Shit Done, GSD and Claude Code. That's such a funny name, honestly. But plan mode is good. Oh my god, plan mode
I need to try the
is
GST.
but plan mode is God mode, so useful.
It's a total game changer. Like absolutely.
Yeah, we love Claude. Do you use ChatGPT by any like at all, or just
I was a
Anthropic?
diehard chat GPTer until I got to network school. And then I realized like how and I did, the last vibe coding hackathon, my partner was using Claude Code more and I was using Codex on GPT and that was actually like very useful and very productive. So I had a positive experience with that, but I don't know, honestly, I feel like once you go Claude, you can't go back.
I've been a
And
Clauder. I've been a Claude. Max will tell you, like, I've been an early Claude just because, not so much for the technical, but for writing, it's so good. Like, for creative writing, it's the way it's
really,
organized and it gives you, like, the separate page. Oh my God, like a dream. And now it's become like super high, but I'm going to claim that. I've been on Claude
I
for,
love that.
and I love it. Just, it's called Claude. I mean, it's so cute, the name and the design.
My
They're
GPT actually knows me so well that I use it sometimes to prompt my Claude more efficiently because based on what you know about me is much more efficient in my GPT still since it's been working with me for so long. And so a lot of times, like based on what you know about me and my intentions to XYZ, create a prompt for my Claude agent. And I kind of always wonder if like my GPT is going to like intentionally sabotage my Claude agent one day. But based on what you know about me, create the most effective prompt to XYZ. And then I'll paste that into my Claude. And I've found a lot of that because maybe because I'm newer at working with Claude, but I don't know that like Claude knows my innate personality quite as much as GPT knows like the holistic view of the things that I do or operate in a day.
Do you think knowing how to build agents and operate AI and prompt is going to be something that is going to be requested by companies moving forward? I mean, personally, there's a big AI is going to replace jobs, going to take your job, but I don't see it happening in that way. Like, but I'm wondering, like, do companies, because obviously you do need to have a lot of like transformation going within the organization, right? And how is that going to work? Like, obviously they're going to hire people that know how to manage these things, but that means the management also needs to know how it works. So it's not that, it's not that simple. That's where I'm getting. But still, like, this is just today. Do you think that's going to be a skill that everybody's going to need to? Are we all going to need to learn how to vibe code to be able to get jobs? If we want to get a job, or imagine you're a student out of university, like, is this something that needs to be added to your skill set? Are you going to lose to someone that can use that, or do we still have a chance?
I wouldn't talk about like vibe coding specifically as the skill that's make or break, but being able to prompt effectively, like absolutely. My pre-crypto career was like in a very like traditional type organization, and even my my coworkers that I wouldn't consider like super into like edgy tech, like they're using GPT to be more productive in a day. So anyone that is so against it that they are not even interested in letting mundane tasks be simplified with AI, I imagine they'll probably have a challenge. Um, and children are unlikely to graduate, even kids that are in high school like this year, unlikely to graduate without being semi-fluent in AI the same way that, 90s kids were pretty much, gonna be fluent and operate a computer just because like that was what was up and coming when they were in school and like sort of soaking up the most information. So I truly don't think that like AI is gonna like take jobs. I think AI is going to change how the job market looks. Um, and I think that's the most important thing is like to be agile and to be a learner and the kind of person that goes to a island in Malaysia because you want to upskill. Like I think especially the older generations, like you do need to have that mindset to continue to thrive in the workforce because the younger generations, it's going to be just as fluent to them as like a 2010 kid knows how to use an iPhone.
Right. It's like second nature. But I think that's the beauty of it. And, you know, in a way, like I wasn't a good student, as in like I always got good grades, but I wasn't like the best student. But I love learning. I love learning, and I feel that especially working in tech and being in crypto as well, like also opens you up to other sides of tech. Actually, I worked for an AI company before joining crypto, and before that was at Bloomberg, so I've always been in tech. Um, but now it feels like, oh my god, I'm like returning to this, and it's like this forever learning curve that you're never going to leave. um I don't know, I just feel like if you stop learning, you die in a way, that's what aging is like it's like you become just static. And the thing is, like, everything is always in motion, so you have to ride that wave. And I think knowledge is definitely something that can keep you young, just mentally, right? Like, you're always stimulating, you're learning things. It makes the world like such a more interesting place to be, because there's always something new to learn. And yeah, today is like AI, and definitely being in a community where you're at the forefront of innovation, where you have the brightest mind and the most interesting people coming together. You're most likely to get that information first, and have also a set of people that are able to explain it to you. So that's super cool. I know that we're going a little bit over time. Um, Maybe to close off, because I mean we could keep talking about the stuff like forever, and I know it's late for you. If there's like, I don't know, one last thing you'd like to say to people that are considering on applying, tips, anything, for people that are considering network school and are looking at the website and thinking, oh, this is interesting, I'd love to apply, like anything, that could be useful for someone that's considering. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're considering network school, I think the most useful thing I'd say is go for it. I think the things that you regret in life are the things that you don't do. And it's pretty amazing to be able to not only experience something like this, but experience something like this so early, where there is so much space for creativity and so much. It's evolving constantly, and I think it's like a really beautiful thing to experience, because it's going to grow. It's going to be much bigger, and it's a really amazing thing to be able to see that growth and evolution over time. So, yeah, my words would be hit the apply button. At least go ahead and apply, because then you've done that first step, and then it's just about carving out a month where you can make it here. And I'll give you the anecdote. You probably won't want to leave after a month, but plenty of people have things going on in
I
life,
feel
so that's
like
totally understandable.
I feel like
But
that's
just do it.
definitely that's definitely something like why would you want to leave? It's something that would keep you in. Um, Actually, one, I know I said one last question, but like, are people talking about peptides? Because everywhere I go is this is what's a peptide talk situation at network school like? Because I know obviously
I haven't heard the word peptide once.
you haven't really.
No,
No.
it's so funny. Like my like crypto Twitter type algorithm, like I still definitely see it, especially in like more of like my girly cohort, but I haven't heard the peptide word once. The big thing that's around here is people are putting the little like blood glucose monitors on their arms that monitor constantly.
Okay.
So like it's become very trendy here right now. I think at least an eighth or a quarter of the population either has one or is about to put one on. And it was pretty funny. One of my friends was like, "Hey, look! Like if I eat a bite of this cookie, check it out, it spikes." So that's more of a thing here right now. But yeah, no peptides at network school, as far as I've heard.
Wow. It's probably just like I haven't arrived yet, but even though I'm not an expert, and I just find it interesting that it is a big hype. And also, like, since you have Brian Johnson designing, especially like the menu. Yeah, I'm surprised that's the one's talking. Well,
Look, I say that now. I'm gonna walk out into the cafe and
yeah,
like
now
all of a
you'll
sudden
start
all of these
noticing,
out
maybe
there
you
actually use peptides.
yeah, maybe you were, it's like once you say it, then you're gonna start picking up, and then everything starts like aligning for it. But so exciting. And again, like, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your experience. I was so curious about what it's like and like the behind the scenes, and I think it's it's such an incredible experience. I'm gonna see how my year is looking and see if I can do it. And if it's not this year, hopefully next year. But it's something that, you know, if you're a builder, if you're a founder, if you're even just like doing stuff, or if you want to learn a new skill and you have time and want to be surrounded by people that obviously are like minded and I have like different skills, can be so incredible. And I mean, the city where you're in, like, it looks like you're in the future. So very, very cool. I'll let you know if I come. And if you're still there,
You
obviously
should.
you never know because maybe in a few
I
months.
have to say, like, it's the best ROI. Like, I think you can invest in yourself in much better ways with like a better return these days. Like all this stuff I'm talking about, like OpenClaw agents, like I mean, again, I've been technical, but I vibe coded an app while I was walking through the streets in Hong Kong at Consensus, and my agent was working on it in the background. And that is like not a sentence I could have conceived 3 months ago before, I got here. So you should definitely do it. It's worth carving out the time for. The ROI is there, whether it's on your like personal growth or your physical or fitness growth or your ability to be productive within your company or build that thing you've been putting off. It's such an amazing space to do it. I don't think anything like this exists.
No, it's super cool. We have machine learning engineer. Hello. He's asking us, hey ladies, how is the accommodation at Network School?
So, I mean, like we said, we live in a hotel, so it's pretty great living. We have 3 meals accommodated a day. There's, all
Designed
the
by Brian
amenities you would
Johnson.
expect. Was that?
Designed by Brian
Oh yeah,
Johnson.
yes, exactly. Brian Johnson meals plus the like super indulgent hotel breakfast. We have pools. There's bikes you can rent. There's scooters you can rent. Even if you don't want to do your laundry, there's like a wonderful woman that comes and does like a laundry service. So for me, when I came here, my first thought was like, I can't imagine there's 90 meals that I'm not going to have to cook, and I can't remember the last time I wasn't responsible for cooking 90 meals for myself, and that those meals were going to be like insanely healthy. So I I don't know. I've never gotten to live in a hotel for 30 days straight, or I guess 50 days straight now.
It's pretty cool. Machine learning engineer thing is also a lady. Is there a lot of women on in the school? Is it quite
There's a
mixed?
lot more than I thought there was going to be. I'm used to the tech space. Believe it or not, my industry pre-crypto had even less women
Oh my
than my
god!
crypto life.
How? I thought we were
Uh,
like, how is this
mind
possible?
blowing. Yeah. So there's a lot more women than I expected to have, and we actually have like our own women's lounge, and there's like a wonderful community. But one thing that I would absolutely love to see is to get more women here that are interested in building and growing and upskilling, because I think any society has a good balance, and I'm excited. I think sometimes for us, right, we're looking for somebody else to go and be like, oh, okay, she went. It is cool. I should definitely go. And so, yeah, that's, why I'm happy to have the conversation, is because I think for women, we sometimes want to demystify it a little bit more. And I'm excited to see the entire community grow, but women as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important, right? Like, because obviously, if you're going alone, and I'm sure at the end of the day, like, it is a very curated environment. Everyone is vetted. You know, there's an application process. So, for it being like a society and a community, I'm pretty sure like there is some level of like supervision and also just down to the level of curation, the kind of people are going, right? But as a woman, if you're going in a place and you're the only one, it's going to be a very, very different experience than going into, a community
You
where
will
at least,
not be the only one. There are a
yeah.
lot of there's women that are here long term as well. So it's not like there's just women here this month.
Are there kids?
Um, huh?
Can you come with your kids or is it?
You can absolutely come with your
Oh,
kids.
okay.
There's childcare available for the youngest ones as well. But yeah, it's truly, and I think that could be a misconception, right? Like you think that a space like this is just for, a singular gender, a singular like life state, a singular age. And I think that's what's really beautiful around here. Like the spread on age, I think, we have people well past retirement age as well. So it's not just young people, it's people of all ages, people from all industries. Families are more than welcome. Yeah, and I think I'm excited to see it grow. I've watched it grow just in this last month and continue to grow next month too.
Imagine being a kid and growing up in this environment. Very cool. Definitely a
Pretty
very,
special.
yeah, very special. Cool. Does anybody have any last questions or anything you wanna, you wanna know before we close off? Obviously, I mean, we're on Twitter, we're always online. You just, go over, follow Brit. You can follow me as well. If you have any other questions, like just shoot us a DM. I'm sure that, we can either give you an answer or find someone that has an answer for you. And again, this is like an open conversation. So we definitely appreciate everybody that showed up. And, I love my chat. I love you guys. It's always fun. And thank you for everybody that asked questions. I thought this was like a very, very, very interesting conversation. And I'm excited to know, especially like, how your next month is going to go. And once you leave, what would be your experience. We'll keep chatting in the babes chat. Hopefully I get to see you at, I don't know, ETC. We're doing something there. If not Token, I don't know if you'll be out already. But hopefully we
I
get to
plan
meet.
to go to ECC, so I hope to see you
Oh,
there.
you're coming? Okay,
Um,
we're planning a brunch. Perfect. We're planning
yes, please.
we're
And yeah,
planning
anyone in the Babes chat, feel free to ask me questions. I've gotten better at checking my message requests on Twitter, especially since I've been here, because people will ask. But yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions or help answer questions about applying and things like that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. All right. And we'll see you for the next one. I'm not sure when, but I'll stream again this week. I've been so disorganized. I'm so sorry. But I'll be on and I will post it. You can see it. It will be fun. And we're going to go over some stuff. So, all right. Until the next. Brit, thank you so, so much. This was amazing. Have a nice evening. It's pretty late there. And we'll speak soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for having me.